The late afternoon sun hung lazily above the crowded streets of Lagos, washing the cracked pavements in a golden haze. Amid the honking of Kiki Napeps and the chatter of roadside vendors, a little girl stood at the entrance of a tall glass building, clutching a worn-out nylon bag. Her clothes were faded, her sandals mismatched, and her face, though dirt-streaked, carried the kind of innocence that made strangers look twice. Her name was Adaora, and today, her trembling lips whispered a prayer that had carried her through the morning. God, please don't let them chase me away this time. Inside that building sat Mr. Raymond Okeke, one of the youngest billionaires in Nigeria, a man whose name was often spoken with both admiration and envy. He owned multiple tech companies, real estate firms, and fashion lines. But his world was far removed from the dusty reality Adaora lived in. Adaora had walked for nearly 3 hours to get there, with only a sachet of water and hope in her pocket. Her mother, once a seamstress, was lying in a small hospital bed back in their neighborhood, her breathing shallow, her hands weak. The doctors had said it was kidney failure, and unless she began treatment soon, she wouldn't survive the month. Adaora was only 12, but she understood what death meant, and she wasn't ready to lose her mother. She approached the guard at the entrance, her heart thudding painfully. "Please, sir," she began, her small voice barely audible over the hum of cars. "I need to see Mr. Raymond. It's very important." The guard, a tall man with tired eyes, looked her up and down and scoffed. "Do you think this place is a playground? Go home, small girl." "I just need a job," she insisted, tears glistening in her eyes. "I can sweep, wash, anything. My mother is sick. Please, I need to help her." Her voice cracked, and the guard's stern expression softened for a brief moment. But before he could respond, a sleek black SUV pulled up in front of the building. Out stepped Mr. Raymond himself, surrounded by his aides. Cameras flashed from nearby journalists covering his new tech launch. Adaora's heart skipped. This was her chance. She ran forward, past the startled guard, and fell to her knees before the billionaire. "Please, sir. Please help me. I need a job to save my mother." The security detail moved quickly, grabbing her by the shoulders, but Raymond raised a hand to stop them. The crowd of onlookers murmured, some even pulled out their phones to record the strange scene, a little girl begging a billionaire in public. Raymond frowned, clearly irritated. "What is this? Who sent you?" "No one, sir," Adaora said, her voice trembling. "I came myself. My mama is dying. The hospital said they need money for her treatment. Please, I can work for you, I can clean your office, anything. Please." The billionaire stared at her for a long moment. There was something raw and desperate in her eyes that tugged faintly at a part of him he hadn't felt in years. He was about to dismiss her when one of his assistants whispered, "Sir, the media's recording. Maybe handle it gently." Raymond exhaled deeply and nodded. "All right, what's your name?" "Adaora, sir." He turned to his assistant. "Get her details. I'll see what we can do." For a fleeting second, Adaora's heart soared. Maybe God had heard her prayer. But later that evening, when Raymond's assistant found her sitting on the pavement outside the building, still waiting, they told her, "The boss is busy. Go home. If anything comes up, we'll call you." She knew they wouldn't. Still, she refused to leave. For 3 more days, Adaora returned to the same building, standing by the gate from morning until evening, holding a small sign she had made from a piece of cardboard. "Please, I just need a job to save my sick mother." The guards began to feel pity for her. Some brought her food. Others told her to give up. But she couldn't. She had promised her mother she would come back with hope, and she meant it. On the 4th day, fate intervened. It was raining heavily, and the street outside the building was nearly empty. Adaora stood shivering beneath the gate, drenched to her skin. Inside, Raymond was leaving for a late meeting when he spotted her through the window. Despite himself, something twisted in his chest. Memories flooded back, of his own childhood in ABA, where he and his mother once sold Accra to survive before life changed for him. He asked his driver to stop. Stepping out with an umbrella, he walked toward her. "You're still here?" Adaora looked up, blinking rain from her eyes. "Yes, sir. I said I'll wait till you give me a chance." Raymond studied her silently. The determination in her small face was heartbreaking. "You're too young to work," he said finally. "I can learn, sir," she replied quickly. "I can do anything. Please." Raymond sighed. "Where do you live?" "In Oberland, sir. Mama is in the clinic there." He hesitated, then handed her a card. "Bring your mother's details tomorrow. I'll see what can be done." She clutched the card as if it were a golden ticket, tears mixing with the rain. "Thank you, sir. Thank you." When she left that night, she didn't feel the cold or hunger. For the first time in weeks, she felt hope flicker inside her chest like a tiny flame refusing to die. But what Adaora didn't know was that behind the scenes, Raymond's life was about to collide with hers in a way neither could imagine. One that would test his humanity and her faith in people forever. As he watched her disappear into the misty street, Raymond muttered under his breath, "What am I doing?" He didn't realize that this one act of kindness would soon unravel secrets from his past, and force him to face the man he had become. Because sometimes, the cries of the poor don't just ask for help. They echo truths that money can't silence. The following morning, Adaora was already at Raymond's company gates before sunrise, her mother's hospital papers carefully folded inside a plastic bag. Her clothes were still damp from washing them overnight, but her spirit was bright. She waited anxiously, her heart pounding every time a car approached. When Raymond's SUV finally arrived, she rushed forward. The driver recognized her and waved her in. Inside the car, the billionaire studied the papers she handed him. The diagnosis was clear. Her mother had advanced kidney failure, and without dialysis, she wouldn't live long. Raymond exhaled heavily. "You shouldn't have to go through this at your age," he murmured. "Where is your father?" Adaora looked down, her fingers twisting the hem of her skirt. "He left when I was small, sir. It's just me and Mama." Raymond's jaw tightened. He remembered his own father's abandonment, how his mother had struggled alone to raise him until fate turned his life around. After a moment he said quietly, "I'll pay for her treatment." Adaora's eyes widened. "You will?" "Yes. But you must promise me something," he said. "Stay in school. Don't let poverty make you forget who you are." Tears streamed down her cheeks as she nodded. "I promise, sir. I'll never forget." That day, Raymond's assistant accompanied Adaora to the hospital. The bills were paid in full. Her mother, weak but conscious, wept when she learned what had happened. "You see, my child," she whispered, gripping Adaora's hand, "God listens, even when the world doesn't." In the weeks that followed, Adaora visited Raymond's office occasionally. She would bring him small gifts, a flower, a hand-drawn thank you note, or mangoes from her neighborhood. To everyone's surprise, the billionaire kept them all. Beneath his usual cold demeanor, he began to feel something unfamiliar, peace. But not everyone approved. In the boardroom, whispers spread. "Sir, people are saying you're wasting resources on a street girl," one director remarked. "It's bad for image." Raymond silenced him with a look. "Do I look like a man who cares about gossip?" Yet, deep inside, he knew helping Adaora had awakened something long buried, his conscience. One evening, Raymond decided to visit the clinic again. But when he arrived, he found Adaora sitting outside, her eyes swollen from crying. "What's wrong?" he asked, kneeling beside her. "It's Mama," she said in a broken voice. "They said even with the dialysis, she needs a transplant. I don't know what to do anymore." For the first time in years, Raymond felt utterly helpless. His wealth could buy cars, land, and power, but it couldn't erase the pain of a child's loss. He placed a hand on her shoulder. "I'll find a way. I promise you." And though he meant it, fate was already writing a different plan, one that would make both their lives cross paths again in ways that would shake the very foundation of their hearts. Days turned into weeks, and Adaora's mother's condition worsened. Raymond had called every doctor he knew, offered money that could buy a hospital itself, but the words were always the same: she needs a kidney donor, and time is running out. One morning, while reviewing the hospital reports, Raymond noticed something unusual. The mother's full name, Ngozi Okeke. He froze. Okeke? His own surname. His pulse quickened. It couldn't be a coincidence. He drove straight to the clinic. Adaora was sitting by her mother's bed, whispering softly as Ngozi lay pale and weak. When she saw him, Adaora smiled faintly. "Sir, thank you for everything. Mama keeps praying for you every night." But Raymond's eyes were fixed on the woman on the bed. As he moved closer, recognition flashed like lightning in his mind. The curve of her jaw, the small birthmark on her wrist. Memories from long ago flooded back. "Ngozi," he whispered. Her eyes fluttered open weakly. When she saw him, her expression changed. Shock, disbelief, then pain. "Raymond." Adaora looked between them, confused. "Mama, you know him?" Ngozi's lips trembled. "Yes, my brother." The room fell silent. Raymond staggered back, his heart pounding. "What are you saying?" Tears rolled down Ngozi's face. "You were sent abroad after our father died. We lost contact. I married young, had Adaora, but life turned hard. I didn't want to beg you for help. Not after you became who you are." Adaora's jaw dropped. "You mean, he's my uncle?" Raymond's knees weakened. He sat by the bed, unable to speak. 4 years, he had chased wealth, power, and prestige, never realizing that his own blood was suffering just a few streets away. Ngozi coughed painfully. "Don't blame yourself, Raymond. Life separated us, but God reunited us." She reached for Adaora's hand. "Promise me you'll take care of her." Raymond gripped her hand tightly, his voice breaking. "I promise. You're not dying, Ngozi. I'll give you my kidney if that's what it takes." But the doctors shook their heads. It was too late. Her body was too weak for surgery. That night, as the rain poured outside the clinic, Ngozi took her final breath while holding both their hands. Adaora cried until her voice was gone, and Raymond sat motionless, his heart shattered. In the days that followed, Raymond arranged a proper burial for his sister. He refused media coverage, saying only, "This is family." He later adopted Adaora legally, ensuring she went back to school and had every opportunity her mother once dreamed for her. Years later, Adaora would grow into a confident young woman, kind, brave, and determined to honor her mother's memory. She often told others, "Money doesn't make a person rich. Compassion does." And Raymond? The billionaire who once measured life in profit learned that true wealth lies not in the empire you build, but in the people you choose not to abandon. Because sometimes, the smallest voice in the crowd isn't a nuisance. It's a call from destiny, reminding us what it truly means to be human. Kindness costs nothing, yet it can save a life. When you lift the poor, you rise with them.